we're going to go ahead and get started. Anybody who shows up late, they're just going to miss the introductions. That's not important stuff anyway. So we're going to go ahead and start here. First of all, thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coaching. All right, we need some coaches in this world that are making a difference. And you guys have a pretty important job coming up. We have a pretty important job coming up as well. But we're excited to have you guys here. We're excited to give you guys a little bit of the coaching principles, things that we're going to talk to you, going to help you kind of do the right thing, because we've all seen it done wrong a little bit. So probably talking to the choir here, preaching to the choir a little bit. Probably got the best of the best right here. But just some checkpoints there. We're going to break down some baseball skills here at the end. We're baseball guys. That's what we do for a living. We like to call ourselves professional coaches because we get paid to do it. I guess that makes us professionals, right? But today we want to go over two different subject matters, and that's coaching principles, where we're going to talk about encouragement, modeling behavior, communication, umpire management, that's a big one, and coaching the mental game. That's my new one. I'm going to really dive deep into that. Hopefully not take too much of your time away from that. Then we're going to dive into baseball skills, talk about how we warm our kids up to throw. We're going to talk about base running a little bit. We're going to talk about throwing, pitching basics, catching basics, infield drills, outfield drills, and finally hitting. And we'll hopefully get you guys out of here for the pregame for the Super Bowl tonight, all right? The idea is to keep it moving, keep it energized. If we can bore you guys to death a little bit, feel free to get up, walk out to the bathroom, take a quick break, come back and get some more info, all right? So we're going to try to keep it locked in with a little bit of content here. We'll start off with encouragement. One of the things I've noticed over the last several years is the numbers of baseball players is dropping. Are y'all noticing that a little bit in your little leagues a little bit? It's dropping a little bit. They have a lot of options, okay? They have a lot of sports they can choose from. And we're seeing a decrease in players at the high school level. We're starting to see that we started our fall season. We had one JV guy in our first workout, and that scared the crap out of me. I'm like, oh God, we're not going to have a JV team this year. And we've always had a JV team. We've never really had the luxury of making cuts at our level because we don't have enough kids. So I noticed a drop. We're good now. We recruited the hell out of the middle schools, and we found anybody in the building that could possibly swing a bat and throw a ball. We were good. Now we're going to be able to field a JV team. But that got me thinking. That's one of the reasons why I put this thing on. It's like, how do we save the game of baseball if it is struggling a little bit right now? So I think it's an epidemic. Kids are having a hard time figuring out the failure of the game. They want that instant gratification. You guys heard that in this generation? The instant gratification of social media? Yeah, it's a thing. And you always hear, oh, it's not the kids that changed, we changed. No, the kids have changed. They have social media. They had to live through COVID. You guys know that was a factor. So we have a struggle on our hands where we got to beat this thing. And that's why we're here to do this. We're going to beat this. At the high school game, we lose our players because of what we call the 3, sometimes 4 W's. Women, weed, wheels, and sometimes work. They want to make some money. That's how we lose our kids. The ones that we think should make it, that's how we're losing them. As I was preparing this, we did a coaching clinic over at Powhatan. I started thinking, why are we losing youth? What's going on? And I came up with the 3 E's because I'm a teacher and that's what we do. We got to engage your brains. All right? Why? Okay? Kids are having a bad experience somewhere along the line. It's a game of failure. We all know that's cliche at this point. It's a game of failure. They're having a hard time managing that failure. Okay? It's not easy. It's a tough game. But the reason why they keep coming back is because you also get that dopamine hit every time you get a base hit. Every time you get a strikeout, you get that good feeling. That's why they keep on coming back. But this generation is having a hard time managing that failure. So we're going to talk about how to manage that today. Negative coach, negative parent interactions. Right? That's part of their experience. If they go out and they play as best they can, they just go out there having fun, and when they get that car ride home, they're getting beat up, no fun. They don't want to do it anymore. They take enough crap from mom and dad for being on their phones all the time, take enough crap for their grades, take enough crap for everything. Now we got to add baseball to the mix. It pulls them away from the game. Coaches, we have a role in that too. If we're too hard on our kids, and we're not encouraging enough, we're going to push them out of the game, plain and simple. So we have a responsibility to encourage. So that's the next E is encouragement. We have to encourage them to a fault almost be too positive. I told you it was different than Buddy Bolden, all right? You have to encourage these kids more than we ever have before because they need it. I'm not saying they're soft. What I'm saying is they have changed. They respond differently to things in life now. We have to encourage. That's not wrong. That's not wrong of us to encourage them. Does that make us soft coaches? No. So let's encourage them. Let's get after them. But the problem is the encouragement piece leaves us once they leave the field. They have to go home to their parents. So how do we as coaches preach this message to our parents. We got to get this out to our parents too. You got to encourage your kids because when they come back to me, I can't have them flat. I got to have them encouraged and ready to go play. So we can keep on encouraging. Next thing you know, you have a confident ball player. So let's encourage. And the 30 is they've had enough. I'll say it. Sorry, no offense, James. Travel baseball in the youth level is killing the game. It's killing the game. They're playing way too many damn games in travel ball. Way too many. 80 games plus a season? A year? Outrageous. The problem is they can play all the baseball they need to right here locally in Richmond, but they're not. They're traveling down to North Carolina, traveling all up down the Eastern Seaboard every weekend. How much chance do you have to be a kid when you're doing that? Sure, they love the game. They love those are their friends. Man, it's too much. So we got to do something about that. Somebody's got to put a stop to it. It can't be me. All right. At some point, it's got to happen. Coach, you have anything to say about that one?
I was just going to add that, to go with that, it's because it's a year-round thing. It's not special. I think, generations back when you played baseball in the spring, you played football in the fall, and you played basketball in the winter, there was something special about each of those seasons. And something special because you didn't do it all the time. I can tell you just from my time coaching travel baseball, you had an year-round, I'm doing training, I'm doing lessons, I'm doing practice, I'm doing games. There's that burnout factor. And it's, I've seen it happen to definitely more than one, where it's just like, I love this at once, but, I don't love it enough to do it 365. Does that make sense?
And I've seen plenty of kids walk through these hallways that I know are baseball guys, and it breaks my heart and a little bit of my ego, too, that I can't get him to play baseball for me. I know that guy's a stud catcher, but he's over here. Now he's a weightlifter. He's smoking weed. He's vaping. He's doing the whole teenage thing. He should be with me, and I got him locked in. But he's not because he got burned out when he was young. So we have to make sure we figure out a way to keep that game fun for them. Make it the urgency of the baseball game. Every situation is important. They lose that when they play too many games. They're just out there playing. So it's a battle we have to do. So how do we fix the problem? And there's no right answer to this, but it does fall on our shoulders as coaches to fix this. We have to take on the responsibility of making the game fun. And that sounds cliche as well, but how do we do that? You make it fun by engaging them in practice. It doesn't have to be all skills all the time. We have incorporate games. Young boys love to compete. Get them competing. We're not going to make wholesale changes to them, especially at the youth level. With how many days a week do y'all practice? Twice at the most. You're not going to make wholesale changes twice a week. You can't do it for an hour and a half. You can't do it. So make it fun. Teach those skills, but make it into a game. Let them compete against each other. Let them have their good time. And then when it comes to game time, we have to celebrate the small victories because we can't win all the games. That's what we really want to do is win. But we have to celebrate the small victories. Every base hit is boosted. We've gone with the mentality of quality at bats this year. So if I go 0 for 4, but I have 2 quality bats, I'm 2 for 4 in quality bats. That's something to hang my hat on. So you have to find something to kind of boost them and get them going. At the end of this, you'll see a resources page, and I have a copy of a presentation I do with my boys about our quality of bat approach. If you want to use that, it gives them another opportunity to be successful in a game of failure. All right, doubles your chances of being successful. So we'll take a look at that at the end. So development over winning. Winning is important. We all want to win, but if we all do the right things as we go, winning will happen on its own. Encourage. If I said it enough, I'm going to keep on saying it because we have to do it. That is our job. If we don't do that, we're going to continue to lose kids. Allow the time for kids to be kids. Be conscious of the signs of burnout. You see a kid that's beat up by his parents, pick him up. Pick him up. Say something nice to him. He needs to hear something positive. He hasn't heard anything positive all week long. Give it to him. And then have a word with the parents if you have the guts to do that. Have a word with the parents. Say, hey, Johnny's pretty beat up. He needs some encouragement. Can you please help me out with that? Because I can't be the only one to do it. All right, it's a tough conversation to have, but we got to make sure that happens. Monitor the number of games they played per year and per week. I'm a victim of the tennis elbow. You all heard the tennis elbow one? I'm a victim. 14 years old, throwing too much. If I'm throwing a curveball wrong. The whole 9 yards. Pulled my growth plate. I was out for a whole year. If you have a player who's complaining of elbow pain, I don't care what the situation is, you make sure they stop throwing. Plain and simple. Right here, they're talking about any pain right here, stop throwing. That is a developmental part of their body where there's a growth plate there, your bones grow at the ends, and it's all cartilage in between the bone where it's growing. As they throw, the tendons and ligaments are pulling on that piece of bone that's connected by cartilage. The cartilage tears. Next thing you know, the whole growth plate will rip off. The only fix for that is surgery. And you're out for a long time. Okay, I almost killed my career. I almost stopped playing because of it. I was almost a statistic because of it. It's nobody's fault, other than maybe my mom's. Didn't take me to the doctor because my brother had the same thing the week before. His dog's copying me. But I was actually hurt, and I actually had to have the surgery. But that also got me going in my baseball career. It got me energized. I almost lost the game. I know I'm losing now. Most kids don't have that. But we got to make sure, as coaches, we're well aware of that inner elbow right here. Any pain there, shut them down. Get them to go get an X-ray. Get them shut down for throwing for. They'll probably shut them down for about 2 weeks, and then they probably get back into it. All right, but that little micro tear is going to happen. A little break in the bone. So encourage. Got it? All right, next. Model behavior.
All right, so as coaches, we do have a responsibility for modeling behavior. And whether you want to be a role model or not, you are. You are going to have a kid that looks up to you at some point during your season because you are their coach. Okay, so modeling behavior is super important, not only for the development of kids, but to develop ourselves as coaches. So one is how do we manage our emotional situations? What do we do when adversity hits, right? Do we kick the dirt? Are we slamming a clipboard up against the wall? Coach Mooney did that to me my first year of coaching. My very first game, I got a clipboard broken right in front of my face, and I was wondering what the heck I got myself into.
You don't walk a leadoff batter in my program.
So we have to model the behavior that we want from our kids because they're going to mimic what we do. Okay? Body language, making sure that we have great body language, right? Something bad happens on the field, something that could have been done differently. Okay? If we show this outward emotion, this physical release that is very negative, what are our kids going to start doing? Copying it, right? Because that's what we're doing as coaches. They think that it's okay. When somebody makes an error and we're yelling and screaming at that person on the field for making the error, what are our kids going to start doing? They're going to start yelling at each other anytime they mess up, right? If we use that encouragement the right way, little Johnny boots the ball at second base, he comes back into the dugout, that's a good time to talk to him, and it's not a yelling and screaming that he didn't do it right or putting him down, right? That's a good teachable moment. We can use what happened in the game, teach them the correct way, and say, hey, we're good, get them next time. And if we continue to do that, we continue to model that behavior, we're going to see our kids start doing the same thing, right? So next time little Johnny makes a mistake at second base, your kid at shortstop turns around and goes, hey, we're good, we'll get them next time, right? And that's how you build a special team, and that's what we've kind of gotten into with our guys this year. It's less put down and more pickup. In-game behaviors, managing disappointment or frustration, those emotional moments, right? We're going to get frustrated as coaches, whether it be a play that happens, whether it's with another coach, whether it's with your umpires. Okay? There's emotion in the game, right? Whatever you're feeling on the inside, we've got to make sure that we model appropriately on the outside so that our kids follow. If we're yelling and screaming at an umpire for a call that they made, our kids are going to get fired up. And now our kids are going to start yelling and screaming at the umpires. And we'll talk about umpire interactions a little bit later on how to handle the umpires, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, the right way of doing it. Our kids, with the social media that we see now, everything that they say, brawls, right? That's what gets posted on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. You see it on ESPN because that's a highlight, that the bench is cleared, right? You see the chirping back and forth between teams, okay? Model that behavior. Guys, look, we don't talk to the other team, right? We talk to ourselves. We hype ourselves up. We don't talk to them. Nothing negative comes out of our mouths towards the umpires or towards the other players or coaches. If there's a situation that comes up, I'll handle it as the coach. And then it's our job to handle it the right way. And then the last one And I touched on this and the one that we did in Palatine because I did it for our little league is you guys are representing an organization. Whether it's travel ball, whether it's high school ball, middle school ball, or your recreation little leagues, right? You're representing something. If you take your team and you go play in an all-star game, where are y'all's all-star games held? Are they here? Rotates somewhere around Richmond. Anywhere that you travel to, you're representing your organization, right? If James takes his RBA team out, or Cardinals, whichever one you coach, takes him out and makes a jerk out of himself, his team, or a bunch of tailholes, right? That looks bad on RBA. That doesn't just look bad on James's team. That looks bad on the whole organization, right? So you have to understand that when you go out and play, you represent the organization that you play for. We represent Clover Hill. We go over to Palatine and we act like a bunch of jerks over at Palatine. It's not just Clover Hill baseball that got made look really bad. It's Clover Hill in general, right? It's the athletic coordinator that's getting phone calls saying you don't have a handle on your coaches. Okay, so just keep all that stuff in mind that you guys are role models. You're going to have kids that look up to you, and it is our job to make sure we model the right behavior and have those kids mimic the right things on the baseball field.
All right, the fun one now. Here we go. Let's start my top stopwatch here. I won't go too long. So umpires, our favorite, right? My best friends, of course, all the time. But you guys know there's a right way and a wrong. Right versus wrong is one of the most under-taught things in the world. All right, I'm going to that approach, right and wrong. And there are several factors in the game. You know how it goes. It's always the worst time when an umpire blows a call, or when a guy's struggling to find his way, he won't call a strike. Whatever it is. We have a wrong way of doing things as coaches. We're pushing umpires out of the game at the end of the day. We're having an umpire shortage up here at the high school level. We have to play games on Mondays now because we can't get enough umpires. So we used to be Tuesday, Thursday, now they push us into Mondays. So we have to be able to handle ourselves better because we represent our players and we represent our parents. And like Coach said with modeling behavior, they're going to feed off of what we do. And being that we have that responsibility, we better handle it right because you might have a mess on your hands if you don't. All right? So emotional body language. When you experience a bad call, your first emotion is what you guys all have grown up seeing. What happens? They run out on the field, they give the umpire a piece of your mind. Wrong. Okay? Wrong. Physical gestures, throwing your arms in the air, shaking your head. The players see every little gesture you make towards the umpire. So when they see you make those gestures, what are they going to think? Well, I need to be mad about this too. But if you say, hey, so what? Let's go get him the next pitch. Guess what? They're going to think the same thing. All right, and the parents are going to think the same. You'll hear the chirping from your parents. You know parents are a big part of the problem too. But if you establish that that's not acceptable, we're in a better place. So we're not going to vocalize our frustrations. We're not going to chirp that umpire. Right? Parents and players feed off of those things. Arguing calls, hey, that's the wrong way because we're not going to be arguing. You guys know how arguing works with umpires. It doesn't work. Right? You have conversations with umpires. You have the conversations. So the right way. We're going to compose our body language. We're going to make sure that we take that deep breath. You get your ego in check because we all have egos as coaches. I got one. All right, we all have one naturally. Get your ego in check. Take that deep breath and remember that you're representing your players and your parents, and how you react dictates how they're going to react. All right. So instead of running on the field, there's a line. There's a line on the ground called the baseline. Try not to cross the baseline unless they want you to. Right? Walk up to the baseline and kind of, they'll see you and they'll come over and talk to you. If they need you to go out there, then you go out there if they can't walk. All right? But walk to the foul line to discuss questionable calls. Right? You have to have the conversation. You don't go to them, how did you miss that call? You're not going to get anything out of that. The thing that I've done the best, I'm not saying I got it perfect because I have my moments too. All right? They're documented times where I messed up. All right? So don't count me as a hypocrite here. All right? But when you approach the umpire with a, hey, what did you see there? You say it nice and calm with a low tone. What did you see there? He tells you. Let's just say it's a play at first base where they pulled off the bag. He bangs him anyway. All right? What did you see there? He's like, I saw the throw beat him. He held the bag. Obviously not what happened. Everybody in the whole ballpark saw that didn't happen. What can you do? What can you say to the umpire to win that conversation? Hey, can you check with your partner really quick to see if you saw him pull off the bag? We saw him pull off the bag from our angle. Can you check to see if he got that angle? And a lot of times, like, sure, we'll go talk about it. And that's how you get a call in return, because somebody's going to see it. But sometimes those umpires have egos just like us, right? And they're not going to change the call. So what do? You got to get over it. It's baseball. You're not going to change that now. It's done. It's over with. So you go right back into encouragement mode. Okay, we lost that one. We didn't get that call. Let's go and move on from it. And you tell your boys, so what? Hey, let's go get another hit right here. Let's go recoup. Let's go. Make it happen. Don't let that beat us. You know how it goes in baseball. It's never one call that beats you. It's an accumulation of everything that happened before that call that beats you. Sometimes stuff that happened after the call that beats you. So you can't blame the umpire for you losing. All right? Game of failure. We talked about that. Guess what? Umpires fail too. That's what makes this game awesome. If we had instant replay in youth, that would suck. If we had instant replay in high school, I'd be out of here. Right? The mistakes that people make in the game make the game special. Makes it fun. You have to overcome some adversity. That's okay. So let's go with that. Right? Keep your frustrations to yourself. Right? If you're frustrated, take that deep breath. It's like, I can't believe I'm spending my Saturday here watching this crap show. But don't show it. Don't show it. Take a deep breath, because the players are going to respond off of what you do. Discuss calls, choose your battles. If it was a bang call and you didn't get the benefit of the doubt that time, let it go. You're not gonna do anything by arguing that call. It's not gonna make things any better. Right? Accept the outcomes and move on. Remember, you're representing your players and your parents, and you also, at the youth level, you're experiencing something else. You're also experiencing that you're dealing with youth umpires, kids that might not know the game the way you might know the game. So you have to remember that too. Now you're dealing with an adult-child conversation, and you don't want to go out there and embarrass a child who's just trying to make a couple bucks, who's doing his best. He's not out there personally trying to beat you, right? So you got to understand that you're dealing with kids at the same time as well, and kids that might be our future umpires. So you want to give them a good experience, so they're umpires for us when your kids are in high school, right? We got to have that. We got to preserve the game a little bit. And finally, balls and strikes belong to the umpire at every level of the game. If you argue balls and strikes at the major league level, what happens? You're gone. At the high school level, you get a warning. Next time you do it, you're restricted to the dugout. All right? Balls and strikes belong to the umpire. There's nothing we can do about that. Now, you can ask him where a call, like, where was that pitch? I always ask my catcher, hey, where was that? And Johnny says it's down the middle. I'm like, hey, where that pitch again? Same spot. Don't change it. Same spot. You got an umpire that's not giving you that low strike like we love the low strike. That's where you get weak contact. Low. Keep it low in the zone. We're not getting that call today, but guess what? We're not going to change, because if we change, we put the ball up in the zone, they're going to start hammering our guy. So we're going to stay low in the zone. We're going to win that zone from the umpire. We keep on hitting it again and again and again, and we're not complaining about it. He's going to see it as a strike. It happens all the time. But we don't change our zone based on umpire's zone. Young guys have to swing the bat, right? The zone, you guys know, you've seen it. The zones are huge in Little League. They are. They're big. Encourage your players to swing the bat at anything close. There's going to be some, you can't just say that in general. You got to really define it for them. It's got to be able to get the barrel on it some way or another. Right? But encourage them. Rather than complain about the umpire's call, encourage them to make contact, swing the bat, get them going. Umpire.
All right, next up, communication. All right? Communication is probably the most important element of leadership, is putting everything that you expect out on the table, okay? And being honest, all right? We'll start with parents. Most important part of your season is going to be the first parents meeting. When you gather them around, all right, and you sit in front of them like I'm sitting in front of you, and you tell them, what is your plan? All right? What is your plan? What are the expectations? All right? Are you a coach that if you miss practice, you don't get to start the next game? All right? Are you the coach that, you know, if you miss practice, I need this kind of communication? All right? Just setting those expectations is so important. All right? Are you the coach that, hey, everybody's going to play even playing time, you know, everybody's going to play the same amount of innings, we're going to rotate the batting order, Everybody's going to get a chance to bat leadoff, whatever it is, you know? Whatever your plan is, you have to set that out. All right? If your plan is, all right, we're going to play the best 9 guys as often as possible, let them know. Because at least at the bare minimum, they cannot say they're surprised. Does that make sense? It's always easier to take whatever's happening if it's expected. If it's expected. Okay? Make it clear to the parents your expectations of them, whether it be in the stands, communication, whatever. You know, in the stands, if you want your parents to, you know, to not come to the dugout during the game, make it clear. All right? If you're like, hey, make sure Johnny has all of his Gatorades before the game, don't bother him during the game. Make that clear. Okay? And then provide encouragement and provide a reason why you are doing that. Okay? For instance, like if you don't want parents coming to the dugout. I want parents coming to the dugout because it allows Johnny to focus on the game better. He's there, the point of putting him in baseball is to learn how to work with his team and work with the coach. If you're in there, you know, coming after every at-bat saying, oh, Johnny, you got to get inside, you got to turn your hips, whatever. All right, you're taking away from what we're trying to do. Okay? You know, just explaining that, and sometimes it seems like really simple stuff. Like, obviously, parents don't yell obscenities at the umpire, but you might have to spell it out for them because there's bound to be one that just is going to do it and think that they have the right to do it because they think they're special in some way. Okay? Next thing with that, team communication. Okay, so you're going to have rainouts. You're going to have games moved. You're going to have practices move, maybe location change, whatever it is, okay? I really encourage you guys to, you know, get an app that does that for you, that you communicate through, whether it's Game Changer is great now. The Green Game Changer has all that team management feature on it. I use an app called Team Snap, which I think is great, especially for like the high school level, because it keeps phone numbers away from me where like I can't actively find it. Also, it gives the parents the opportunity to just change their number. All right, because you know that's probably happened to at least one or two of y'all where in the middle of the season you're like wondering like, why is Mrs. Jones not talking to me anymore? I'm trying to tell her that Timmy's game got rained out, and I keep on getting an email that's bouncing back. Well, it's her job to go on there and change her email. All right? They know. Were you adding something?
Everybody accessibility is not actually.
Okay.
So put all your communication.
Excellent.
If you want to do an email, you can go on to the team on the website. You can email the team, go to the team's page, email us. Like email the team or email. But I would highly recommend it. Keeps it moving.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to say with that team communication is making sure you do it as early as you can do it. Because, you know, just because what we really want is what will save you is that the parents don't find out 30 minutes that, you know, the game was canceled when you do at 10 a.m. Does that make sense? Just making sure that communication gets out ASAP. For my level, and maybe you guys may choose to do this, like if you got a practice that's going to rain and you want to move it to like an indoor facility, or you rent it out a couple cages so you can hit at RBA or at Rise or wherever you're going to do it. I always do stuff like that. That's 24 hours. That has to be the day before I communicated that if you were to do that. Especially if you're looking at the weather ahead of time. If you know it's going to rain Thursday and it's going to pour and you want to make that adjustment, don't wait till that day to make that adjustment. Make that adjustment ahead of time so that way you can communicate ahead of time any change that's a big change. Okay? Next up, upset parents. Everybody here is going to definitely have at least one. Okay? The one thing that my dad, who was a coach, told me is you are lucky if you have 9 guys happy. It made sense to me. You are lucky if you have 9 guys completely satisfied on your team with what's going on. So you're going to have some people that are upset. When people do get upset, especially during practice and game time, do not approach the parent right after the game. Tell them not to approach you right after a game or during. 24 hours. Let the heads cool down, okay? Because it may not be as bad as they think it is in the moment. You know, you got a guy that is 0 for 3 and you know, he kind of shows his butt a little bit by, you know, not hustling out down to first base, and you kind of go up to him and, you know, hopefully you're not screaming at him like, you know, you're coaching Coastal Carolina or something, but you're like, come on, man, let's go. Like run hard. Like sprint, hustle. You give him whatever firm thing you give. Maybe that upsets dad and thinks that you cross the line. Well, if everybody gets 24 hours, all right, one, maybe you'll think to yourself, yeah, I probably could have not made such a big deal about that. Okay, I've been there where, yeah, I kind of went over the line there. Okay. 2, for the parent that's upset, maybe they're like, well, you know, now that I can take myself out of that, I'm upset I'm upset with the situation that my kid's not playing well. You know, coach was right. He didn't hustle, and that's, you know, that's the foundation of playing the game, is that you got to hustle. Does that make sense? And, you know, with that time comes, you know, comes wisdom, and they'll realize, okay, I think we did the right thing. Okay. And then lastly, when you're talking to parents, honesty, being specific, and being encouraging. Okay. With honesty and specific, don't beat around the bush. All right. If you sat a guy because, you know, he had 2 at bats and he didn't swing at a single pitch and struck out, and that's why you did it, just say you did that. All right? Or if you said, I took, you know, you put a guy in and we got to make a substitution, a defensive substitution, so I took him out because one guy's a better defender than the other or a better hitter or whatever, then just tell him that. Tell him that straight up. All right? It's one of those things that will save you the heartache of them trying to interpret what you want versus what you mean. Okay? Say it with your chest, let them know that's why. However, you know, when you do make that move, you know, you can be encouraging too at the same time. And what I mean by that is, you know, they're upset that you put a guy in for their kid to hit. Well, he obviously did something to be in the field until we had that guy that we needed to go up there to pinch hit. To remind them that we don't win that game without his defense. Without his skills, we are not as good a team. It just happened in that situation. We needed a guy to, you know, drive the ball to the outfield, hit a sac fly, and win the game. It is what it is. And pointing out the good things and the improvements that they're making. Okay. You know, going back with honesty, with the honest part too, you know, in Little League, I think a lot of the situation is you got kids and parents that, you know, they want to play first base or shortstop all the time, right? And like if the parent's upset that their kid's not playing first base because he can't catch the ball, tell him, I'm worried that he's going to hurt himself playing first base. When we warm up, when we're just doing plain catch before the game, he only catches like 33% of the balls. Tough to put him at first base, right? And that's why. Tough to even put him in the infield because you're like, well, if any ball has any velocity, he ain't saving himself. Does that make sense? So just being honest and you know, having a reason, a why for why you did something will go a long way. Okay? Always have that why, because I think the why for players and parents helps with the process of, I got bad news. Oh, it's bad news because of this. And then that puts the onus on them to take some control and change it, or, you know, do what they can to change it. All right, with players, player to coach communication, I think is really important. Okay, I mean, kind of obvious, right? I think your interactions with your players should be as honest as you can have. All right, obviously, you guys coach different ages, so the honesty, at my level, it's brutally honest. I don't beat around the bush. I wouldn't say it any other way. Like, I'm not going to be mean, but I'm just going to tell a guy like I had the unfortunate thing where, I had a guy on my Cardinals team last fall. He batted 160 in the fall. What am I supposed to do? That's why we're letting you go. That's why, you're not getting as much playing time, is because you're batting 160. It's unfair to the guys that are batting 340 to have you play in front of them. All right? I can only play 3 outfielders at once. I'm sorry that you're like the 5th best one out. Okay? And being brutally honest. Now, at the younger level, you have a kid that's, Johnny's like, hey, coach, why can't I play shortstop? And you just got to tell him, hey, bud, I need your arm to be stronger in order to play shortstop. You know those long, tall drills we do? I need you to do that when you're not here. Give them a reason. Give them something that they can do themselves, something that makes them feel like they have some control over it where they can improve it. All right? You're going to play second base because your arm's just not quite as strong enough yet to play shortstop, or, whatever the reason may be. Okay? Let's see what we got. Better how that is, this is what happened. This is what we need to do better. I kind of did some examples of that, and that's how you can do it. Like I was saying, hey, your arm's not strong enough to play shortstop yet. Okay? You get better by long tossing. All right? And this is how we do it. And you go through the drill. And keeping a dialogue with your bench players. So your guys on the bench, really key, right? Because in Little League, it's all must play, right? So you've got to keep those guys engaged, right? Whatever you can do to keep them engaged. Here we're talking open dialogue, just communicating with them. I mean, very common. You ask a kid, hey, did you see that? This is something that he did really well, talking about how, what your players are doing on the field. Maybe it's something that you see the other team does, Maybe you see a guy that goes up there and, hits a fly ball, doesn't run it out of the box, And you tell your guys, hey, remember that guy that didn't run out of the box? And that's not what we do here. We run it hard, 90s out of the box all the time. Keeping them engaged, reminding them, we're moving, let's say a lefty's up and you point out, hey, notice you're going to be playing second base next thing. We moved them closer to the right field line, and all that kind of stuff. With all that, giving your guys something that they can kind of cheer on while they're in the dugout too. Let them have a little fun, all right? It's Little League, so, if they got their little chance or whatever, let them do it. Even if they got their, little celebrations that, guy hits a double and, you got your, shaking it out on second base or, whatever thing they're coming up with, their archer pose or whatever. Let them do it. Baseball's supposed to be fun. All right? And if it's celebrating with your teammates, I'll take that all day. If you're looking at your guys and we're having a good time in the game, we'll take that all day.
Keep it appropriate, please. These kids know stuff that we don't know with that social media piece. They know stuff. And yeah. They're doing the DX chop. That's not good. That's not good.
I had to stop my son in travel last year because he saw the Phillies doing the marbles.
Yeah.
He's out there at second base.
I don't know. I'll be honest. If they did it because they watched Major League or not, I appreciate that. But
Labels.
Yeah.
Have no models.
Any questions on communication piece? Yeah, kind of ran that one.
Preseason parent meeting is definitely much.
Yeah, and
Season, it really takes you away from a lot of questions or, like your perfect example.
Yeah.
I am not going to put a kid at first base if they can't catch.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
And you know, even at the high school level, like you know, if you guys plan on going up with your kids and you're coaching older kids, that first meeting is I think it's the most important meeting that you have all year. One thing that I do, and this is tougher at y'all's level, but I always share this at the high school level, is I do have a meeting with all my players before and after. It's like a, you know, pre and post interview, just to tell them what's going to happen. You know, where I picture they go. Now, in the preseason, you know, at the high school level, you know, you got guys that are backups that end up becoming starters. It doesn't mean that they stay there forever. However, I do want to set that tone of like, this is what you should expect, and this is what I need you to do. I think for you guys, it might be good just to take time during or at the end of the season. If you just pull guys aside, you don't have to make it a formal thing, but you know, you're like, hey man, you've done a really good job of improving your arm strength. Your hitting's really come along. But if you want to get better during the summer or whatever, hey, take some more ground balls, get that club out in front. Use your hips more to play, you know, whatever. Just so they get a little extra piece with it. And like, you know, at our high school level, you know, we get really, you know, into it's a very formal meeting. But I think if you guys did that kind of more informally and even include the parents in it, just so they know, you know, it's like getting a report card, right? It gives them something that they can chew on, and like, you know, maybe that will, you know, initiate them, you know, doing some extra work on their own, you know, instead of not playing baseball for 9 months, or, you know, maybe they're like, well, you know, maybe we'll send them to this camp, or, you know, whatever. You know, it gives them the opportunity, again, to put it in their court and feel like they got something more out of you besides just, you know, running out there playing some baseball games.
I would say Marion is looking to folks that probably the most valuable time we have is when we're either dominating a team or being dominated. Because you have an opportunity to take a kid who has been dreaming about getting into that spot. And you've been talking about things. I'm throwing in a shortstop and does that. But that's winning the game is great, but like when you get the opportunity to put a kid in that position, that's honestly what will win you a championship. Because that kid will have to come up and perform later on in the year. And when you put him in a spot where he has to perform and feel that you believe in him, that's going to be the one that, one, keeps him in baseball, and then two, puts him in a position to get an opportunity.
Yeah. And I will actually want to add on to that. I say this to most travel and, you know, younger travel and little league coaches all the time. The teams that are good are not the teams that are good 1 through 6. Everybody's good 1 through 6. It's 6 through 12. It's how often do you get something out of hitters 9 through 12 if you're running the whole line? If you're getting something out of those guys, which those are the guys you actually need to coach the hardest, and you really want to be a successful team, is having those guys capable of just contributing and celebrating their contributions. I mean, it's really important. All right, it's one of those things that I'll tell you, like, personally. I was a little graduate at Huguenot. I remember this dude, Evan. Evan was the weirdest dude I ever played baseball with. He was a homeschool kid. That was the kind of kid that like brought his history textbook to like the game and did his homework when he wasn't playing. It was weird. And he was awful. Like, don't get me wrong. However, I will not forget the time we're like in the playoffs for Little League, and Evan somehow, with the bases loaded, like came up with like a base hit in the gap. And you're like, what's going on? How did he even hit the ball? Like, he hasn't gotten a hit all season. And that's, I'll tell you, I think coaching Little League, those are the opportunities you really get where like a guy's just struggling and a guy's working his butt off and he's trying his best and he's not very athletic, but somehow he comes up with a clutch hit, and you know, you get the opportunity to give that kid the game ball that day. You know, that's kind of what it's all about. So
that's actually a great way to segue what we're going into with the mental game. When you have an opportunity to provide a success for kids that don't succeed very much, you now have something for them to go to for mental imagery. We're going to get a little deep here with the mental game. All right, this is where me and Coach Boulding were not on the same page. Okay, so those type of them, they need to remember those things, and that's who they are. They need to define themselves by those moments. The moments when they strike out, that's not them. The moments when they succeed, that's them, and they need to believe that. Might encourage some more success. It's confidence. So we're putting confidence in by doing that. All right. So as we talk about the mental game, guys, it almost sounds, I use this a lot. It sounds cliche, but it's bigger than just taking a deep breath and letting it go. It's a lot bigger than that. Kids can't do that. We can't do that. So I'm going to give you guys some techniques today to kind of help coach the mental game to these kids fundamentally. We have taken an approach this year, holistic approach of addressing the mental game with our boys. We are at the point where we are going to sync to our training at our worst moments. We're going to sync to our training at our best moments. The training is what we're going to sync to every single time because we're not going to rise to the occasion. They practice these routines I'm going to tell you about in here in a second. But what do we see in the game of baseball as far as mental game goes? We're seeing kids leave the game because of failure. They're frustrated. They're emotional. All right, you know the kind of kid that strikes out and starts crying, can't help himself, and their parents are embarrassed, like, stop crying. That's not going to work. Right, we know that kid. We got to teach them how to manage that. It doesn't happen right away, but we have some skills here that I'm going to teach you guys to be able to implement that with that type of kid, or the kid that gets really pissed off. And it affects his whole game. I'm going to give you guys some techniques there. Playing scared or nervous, you've seen that one? You're afraid of the game. There's nowhere to hide in the game of baseball, right, Buddy Bolton? Nowhere to hide. All right, so you got to go out there and play the game. Failures compounding on top of each other, right? That leads to negative coaching interactions and negative parental interactions. So what do we want to see? We want to see the kids enjoying the game. We want to see resilient players. We want to see good body language, right? How many times do you have to tell a kid, stop hanging your head? Now, what does that say? Yeah, you're defeated. You're beat up. You're done. Done before you even started. All right, play in the moment. Baseball is all just a game of moments. You lock in those moments, we're going to be a whole lot better. All right, being confident, having success, that's what we want to see. We want to see encouraging coaches, encouraging parents. And this is how we do it. All right, this is one that's going to get you fired up. I'm going to hopefully keep this under 5-10 minutes to give you guys a quick break to stand up and stretch because it's been a long one for you guys already, I can tell. All right, so just bear with me. This one's going to be exciting, I promise. All right, in the game of baseball, we're experiencing a lot of failure. In the game of baseball, there's things we cannot control. Almost everything is out of our control as a baseball player. Am I correct? Everything. Very little do you have control of. The only thing you really have control of is yourself. Okay, that sounds good. Good job, Coach. You found that one on the internet. Self-control. Self-control. What is that? Self-control. I'm going to explain it. I'm going to get deeper. It's going to get really deep here as we get towards the end. Having self-control means that you can get engaged and locked in this moment. And what is this moment in the game of baseball? This pitch. This pitch. This pitch. And if you can lock in those moments with self-control, you're going to experience more success. You're going to be able to manage the failure better because the failure is not in your mind. We have to block the failure out of our mind, and we have to believe that we're somebody we might not be. You encourage that confidence. If you're not confident, what do? Fake it. There's nothing wrong with faking confidence. Nothing wrong with that. And you fake confidence in many different ways. We're talking. One of the main ways is body language. If you're not feeling confident today, everybody knows when you walk around like this. After you strike out, everybody sees it. So how do you strike out? You put the barrel of the bat in your hand. I'm gonna grab the bat. You put the barrel of the bat in your hand because that's where you do your damage. That's where the kids walk around with the bat when they hold the bat when they go to the plate. Hold on the barrel. That's where you do your damage. That's a mental thing. I'm going to put the barrel of the bat in my hand. I'm going to put some air in my chest, shoulders back, head up. Like, okay, you got me. You just walk back with a little bit of pace. Body language is also the pace at which you move. Positive body language means you're moving with some tempo. All right? And you don't let anybody know that you're upset. You fake it even if you are. Then when you have your private moment, you can be pissed off all you want. All right? But you don't show your opponent your weakness. All right? So big body language. Big body language, 10 feet tall and bulletproof. What you're going to tell your kids, write it down. 10 feet tall and bulletproof all the time in the game of baseball. Before, during, and after, 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Always have big body language. It sends a message and it gets in their brain that they're confident, even if they're not. Breathing. I gotta breathe right now because I got excited. Breathing's important. I teach my guys a 6-2-8 method of breathing where they're in for 6 through their nose, hold for 2, exhale through the mouth for 8. You put a couple of those together, some pretty special things happen. Right? Physiologically, everything slows down in your body. Heart rate slows down, your mind slows down. Good things happen physiologically if you spend some time breathing. Now, telling a pitcher or a hitter, hey, take a deep breath. Yeah, it's the same concept, but they got to do more than just one deep breath. They got to be constantly thinking about that breathing, slowing their bodies down, to slow that moment down. All right? So as they're breathing, it's also important to have a focal point, Matt. As a hitter, where do you do your damage? With the barrel. So what I have my guys do, and you'll see a lot of big leaguers and high-level college players do this, they'll step out, they'll find a spot on the bat. For me, it's going to be the end on the Rawlings. I'm going to take a nice deep breath on the end. All right? What that does is it keeps you locked in the moment. Not the bad thing that just happened or the bad thing that could happen. You're locked in on just one thing on the moment. You have to find something that's consistent. Evan Longoria, he's one of the biggest mental game guys in the game. He's still playing. I couldn't believe it last year. I saw him like, holy crap, he's still playing. He focuses on something that's always going to be in every field. The top of the left field foul pole. When he steps out, he takes a breath on an object to focus and lock in your brain. All right? So breathing on a focal point. That's important. From there, we're going to start putting this all together. We're going to build some routines. We're going to build routines that are going to help our kids. We're going to sync to our training. If we're consistent with these routines time and time again, those bad moments from before don't matter. The outcomes don't matter. It's the process. It's the routine that's going to get you there. So we're going to have a trigger to start with. And the trigger is all it is something that's going to lock you in and say, this is what I am right now. If I'm a hitter, I'm going to get my helmet out of my bag. The second I put my helmet on, boom! I'm a hitter now. Nothing else matters. Me on defense doesn't matter anymore. I'm a hitter. You can be putting your batting gloves on, whatever it is. You got to have a trigger. If you're pitching, maybe just putting your feet on the rubber is your trigger to say, I'm a pitcher now. Nothing else matters. Locking in the moment, having self-control. Taking a deep breath. Does that be a 6-8? Put a deep breath on a focal point. If you're a pitcher, the top of the backstop. And you go. Get locked in the moment. From there, you have to have affirmations. You go from listening to yourself, there's a difference, listening to yourself to talking to yourself. There's a difference. Listening to yourself and talking. When you listen to yourself, you let the other crap creep in. The negative emotions, the negative thoughts creep in when you're listening to yourself. When you talk to yourself, when you tell yourself what to think, you can now control your brain. You have self-control in the moment. If I'm getting ready to walk up to the plate before my bat, I'm on my on-deck circle, I'm doing my 6-8 breathing, visualizing a moment where I was successful, feeling good about it, building that confidence with big body language, barrel in my hand. I tell myself, you're a tough out. Keep it simple. Be confident, compete. You say those 3 things, they have to say it. You have to say it in your brain. Because if you don't say those things in your brain, you're going to go back to the negative stuff. All right? So that's part of the pre-at-bat routine. When you go up to the plate, it's important to feel the moment. Self-control. Get in the moment. You get in the moment by feeling the dirt. Anybody ever struggle with anxiety? Me. How do you fix it? With breathing and with grounding. It's the same principle. You slow everything down by feeling the moment. You feel the dirt. You hear the dirt. You're right here, right now. That's all that matters. You take that deep breath, and you get in your routine. And right here, the affirmations change. The things I say are different now. Now it's see it twice. All right, see it twice. I like this one. This is a good one. I got this from Coach Mack over at UVA. See it twice. See it out the pitcher's hand, and you see it off the bat. So I'm telling myself to see it twice. I'm also telling myself, be easy, which means I'm not going to muscle up. See it twice, be easy, and then from here, it's time to be confident. Hammer it. Say it with some passion when you say it in your head. See it twice. Be easy. Hammer it, and then it's time to go. But at that point, we are now locked into what? The moment. All those things we did, we got locked into the moment. And that helps us be a little more successful. You do the same thing pitching. We have the same type of routines when you're pitching. Every pitch is the most important pitch. Hard thing to coach, isn't it? Especially with young kids. But if they practice it, it's part of their routine, and they can visualize. You do shadow bullpens where you're not even throwing a ball, where they imagine their routine, and they go through and they execute pitches. But that doesn't mean this is a fix-all for baseball, because baseball is still a game of failure, isn't it? So what do? You have what are called yellow and red light moments all the time in the game of baseball. Stuff happens that's not favorable constantly. So we have to have a check-in. Is what we call it. Check-in, where you get yourself locked in, where you take a step out. And you tell yourself your affirmation from here is next pitch. It's the only thing you get to think about. You tell yourself next pitch. You step in, get back into your routine, and let's go. All right. You also have to do what's called a physical release. So what we do at Clover Hill, if you ever come out to one of our games, you see my guys doing this. That's them letting their teammates and myself know I'm letting that last one go. It's gone. Now I'm going to get back in my routine. And let's lock in. A lot of guys will just kick dirt. And the physical motion of kicking dirt is me letting this one go and locking in for the next pitch. Right? This is a lot, guys. I could go on about this for about an hour. I'm not going to, but I am going to do it 2 weeks from now. Our mental performance clinic, same kind of principles here, except for we're going to be doing it for mental performance only. I'm going to do a coach's session so I can teach you guys how to coach it. I'm also going to do a parent-player session. If you know that player that's struggling with the mental game, I'm going to teach them how to build those routines and practice them so they can do it on their own at home. For free. Everything's free here, guys. I'm not trying to make a buck off this. I want kids to be better at the game. I want to get back to the game of baseball. This is so important. It's so under-taught. Why is it under-taught? Because nobody knows how to teach it. I immersed myself in it through the internet, all right? And I made it my goal. One of my players was struggling with the mental game, just struggling. So I'm like, no, I got to find something that helps him. I found it, so I went with it. And it has paid dividends to my program. It's changed me as a coach. I'm a different coach this year than I've been my entire career, because now I'm more engaged with my kids. I have better connection with my kids. I encourage them more because of this, because it changed me, because I do the same thing that I ask them to do. When something bad happens, deep breath, I let it go. I like to kick a little dirt, and I say, my affirmations, next pitch, encourage. And it's working for me. It's working for my boys. I have better relationships because of it. So please, spread the word to your players, spread the word to your coaches that you're working with. Put it out there. I don't care if it's 2 people in the audience or if it's 150. I want to put this out there to the community. I want people to learn this because I can teach this. It's practice for me too. All right? And it's something that can be very useful in the game. Y'all feel good about that? Let's take a break. We're going to start off. I'm going to play this in the background while I'm talking, so you might not. It's not going to go exactly in order when I'm talking about it. So this is a video of us doing our warm-up. This was last week. Preseason, I got guys in there that probably won't play much in our program, but they're going through our warm-up. One of the things I see a lot out of kids, and this is something I want to coach you guys up on, is I see a lot of kids when they show up to the baseball field, first thing they do is they grab the ball and glove and they go throw. It's dangerous, guys. It's dangerous. The purpose of a warm-up is to get your body ready to throw. So we have to try to prevent the kids from eagerly going to get their glove and ball to go throw. It's not good for their arms. Now they're not doing any high intensity reps, but that's not, you don't want to teach them that practice. I have to beat it out of my kids once they get here. No, don't get a ball and throw. You warm up first. And this is the warm up right here that we do at Clover Hill. The idea is to get your heart rate going, start getting blood to your muscles, get that oxygen going, get the blood flow going so that we feel better, our body performs better. So we start off with a couple lunge, a jog down, we take a lunge, we backpedal back, right? Be careful, kids can't always run backwards very well. From there we do skips with arm circles and arm scissors. All right, this is not what's on the screen right now, but we're getting the upper body loose and moving as we're doing skips. When we get to the end of for you guys, it's going to be whatever length your base path is. Ours is 90 feet, so we go 90 feet with these. When we go backwards, this is a fun one to watch. See if the kids can skip backwards. All right, they usually can. You get a little arm circle, arm scissor in with that. That's getting the whole body moving. It's part of the warm-up. From there, we're going to slow things. Actually, we're going to get some form running in. We go into high knees. You guys have all seen that. The idea with high knees, you don't want to do the whole. You don't want that. You want it nice and fast. All right, as many reps as you can get in that short distance, shorten that distance up a little bit. There you do butt kickers, same thing. You want to get as many reps in as you can. All right, you don't want to just kick your butt and make it fun. All right, you got to actually get the warm up in. From there, we're going to go into heel scoops. You see these guys go nice and slow. They'll put the heel out, scoop it up, walk it out. Do the left one, scoop it out. Move the next one. Side lunge. This one's a little slower. Little side lunge, and turn. Side lunge, and turn. Like I said, this is on the video if you've been watching. Walking quads. That's what they're doing right here. They should be going opposites. A lot of them do the same one, but they should be doing opposites. Heel and knee lifts. This is what they're getting ready to go into right now, where you're lifting your heel and your knee. That's going to be a good hip flexor stretch right here. And then from there, they go into their steel breaks. Get them up. I think this video is 4.5 minutes. So really you get a warm up in about 5 minutes and you're good to go on the next thing. All right, so a lot of them you'll see they're kind of slowing down here, but they're going to get 4 sprints in. And they'll...
If you can get everybody to show up on time.
That's the other
That's
thing.
the big thing with Little League.
They better be that time.
Everybody there when they're supposed to.
All right, so this is them. I put 2 pictures. Well, you probably do this as a coach. Just set up and give them steel breaks. However you do your steel breaks in Little League, just set them up in that stance and get them going. We do 4 of those. That's our warm-up. From there, base running. We're going to keep going. I'm halfway out of the rep and doing like 3 stretches. All right, so we're going to keep it basic, running through the bag at first base. I'm going to play these videos real quick for you as I talk. I'll loop them. All right, play that one. All right, so we're running through the bag at first base. A couple things we want to do. This is the one on the left is a good drill where you're getting your whole team going. You can go through it 3 times on that day when we were doing this. But the coaching points when we're running through first base, when they swing and they hit the ball, they want to take a quick look. When they're running down the first checkpoint is they want to make sure they hit the front edge of the bag in stride. The front edge of the bag. All too often you see kids hit the top of the bag, and sometimes hit the back of the bag. Fractions of a seconds matter in the game of baseball. So we want to make sure they hit the front edge of the bag, and then from there you'll see this, especially on the right, after they hit the bag, they're going to slow their bodies down as quickly as they can. So the way we do that, we're going to break down our hips. So we hit the front edge of the bag, break down your hips, and get wide. Now I'm in a running position again all of a sudden. All right, we're looking over our right shoulder. What are we looking for when we look over our right shoulder? Looking for a baseball. All right, you have a closed fence. They need to know that. First base coach, whoa, 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 whoa. All right, but we're looking over our right shoulder to see if we see a ball. The idea is to stop as quickly as possible. You all too often see kids hit that bag. Incorrect. You need to stop as fast as you possibly can, and you do that by widening your feet out and dropping those hips and looking over your right shoulder. Okay, so that's for ground balls in the infield. From there, we're going to go to how we take our turns. Like you make it go. That one. This one. All right, we're going to teach you, there's 2 different trains of thought when it comes to hitting that possible double. Definitely gets through the infield. All right, you hear there's 2 different thoughts. There's the banana route, there's the question mark route. We're going to go with the banana route. Okay, we want to make sure we start that route out, getting outside. And you'll see that kind of in this picture, the left video. Hard to see. But when we're taking that turn, the idea for us is to hit that inside corner of the bag in stride, that left shoulder, and keep on running hard. We're thinking 2 out of the box on this one. We see it through when we hit the ball. You take that peek in, you see the ball get through. You're thinking double all the time, because even if it's hit right to an outfielder, what could happen? The bobble. And the best teams steal bags. They advance runners cheaply. If you can take another bag by taking a hard, aggressive turn on a ball that just gets through the infield, and you run it hard, you have a great chance of making that single into a double. You don't have to worry about stealing a bag. You don't have to worry about a pass ball. You're already in scoring position. So if you watch the guys on the right, you're seeing their really hard turns. If they wanted to, they could keep going to second base. What they're doing is they hit that bag as they're getting a read that's in front of them, plays in front of them. What's the first base coach doing here? It doesn't matter. Okay, first base coach is seen, not heard. Okay, that's why we have to let the kids do it sometimes. Sorry, Parker, no offense. They need to see the play in front of them and react to what they see. What we will do with this, we'll also extend it into having an outfielder will force them to bobble the ball, and we take second base on them. You'll see at the highest levels, the higher levels, the most aggressive base runners are going to take that bag whenever possible. But it starts with a hard, aggressive turn, and then you got to stop yourself hard and get back to the bag in a hurry. Okay? So that's the coaching point we're doing here. I could go on and on about going from first to third. It's all the same thing. Hit the inside part of the bag, and run hard, stop hard, get back hard. All right? That's all I got for base running. Oh, throwing. That's the big dog.
All right. All right, real quick, throwing, okay? Very seminal part of the game, all right? It doesn't matter what position you play, you gotta be able to throw the ball at some point, okay? To start out with is just some of the basic cues that I use to make sure that we're communicating in a way that the kids helps the kids. So, first one, pet the dog, don't kill the dog, all right? The reason I put that is, most of us teach, that windmill, getting here, boom. What you will get, and most commonly with kids, is that they think that it is straight arm there. So that's where I'm saying don't kill the dog, because you're pushing his face to the ground and then ripping him apart. Does that make sense? We just want to pet him, boom, there, okay? Another cue that I use with that is, especially if you're working with a little bit older, is a lot of guys think I'm taking the ball out of the glove and getting the ball back there as quickly as possible. No. We are taking our elbow out of the glove, boom, getting there, okay? That's the difference between those two, okay? Very important, because we don't want them just to short arm it, but we do want to get a little action, but we want to be quick with our action. Not to mention, if you extend that elbow on this part and then extend the elbow on that part, you really did two throws. That's very stressful on the elbow. We want to keep it kind of one-piece arm action, okay? Next one, hug the teddy bear, okay? And our teddy bear is actually our glove, okay? So gloves point at the chest. The big thing that guys want to do is either wheel it around to pull ourselves off and you end up leaving the ball here, runs to the right, you accidentally throw a two-seamer, or they kind of just like let it go and now you're just throwing here. We want that separation, and then we want it hugged hard with my fingers going up to my armpits. Does that make sense? You're going to get some guys that misinterpret it, and they literally hug. Like you'll see a guy finish with his fingers pointed almost to his elbow on his other side. Point here, fingers go into the armpit, and then we finish, okay? When they go back, all right, the ball, when you throw, is actually, if you are at the pitcher's mound, pointed to the shortstop, okay? It's not to the center fielder, all right? That's an awkward position for your wrist. It's actually pointed at the shortstop, where you got ball and wrist and elbow underneath each other, supporting each other, okay? You'll also get this sometimes from guys where they kind of get it here and then go there. That's going to lead to a tough pronation, which that's just the finish to the throw, where it's awkward, puts a lot of stress on this inside elbow area, okay? Nose follows the ball, all right? When we throw, okay, when I have a guy throwing, what I want to see is that his nose follows the ball. That's the basic part. That's the first part to getting them to follow their throws, is that they're able to throw and their nose follows it, okay? If their nose follows the back of the ball, they're going to stay centered. They're going to stay to their target, okay? And lastly, throwing the back of the ball forward. Now, this is a huge one for young guys because they got chihuahua hands. So, that ball is actually too big for their hand. All right, baseball is one of the few sports that the ball is the same size, whether you're 4 or whether you're a Hall of Famer. Ball's the same size, 5 ounces, same circumference. So, really getting guys to understand that ball is thrown forward. The back of the ball has to go forward no matter what position you are playing. Okay, now when they get a little older and we start mixing in breaking balls, we'll talk a little different. But for basic fielding and pitching, that back of the ball goes forward. The wrist also follows it. Does that make sense? So ball goes forward. To make it go forward, wrist has to go behind it. All right? What's next on that? Our drills, okay? So our drill sequence, and Parker, I might need your help on this one.
He isn't talking to the boss, we're putting the work.
All right, is you have the few drills that I think most people do. Okay, starting with one knee. When we do one knee, okay, when I drop down, everything should be balanced. All right, my foot should be straight behind my butt cheek, ankle and knee in line, not tucked, not out. I'm not sitting back. I'm here, chest forward. When we do this drill, chest starts forward, and this is the big drill for when we're talking about pet the dog and point. We want to really make sure they're getting that arm action quick but not short. Boom, boom. My nose can follow. I also want to think that my belly button is going to my thigh. So he's there. That's embarrassing. And we're getting there. So belly button to thigh, nose follows. So I'm here, boom, boom. All right? All right, the next one, 10 toes. All right? Also can be called shoulder to shoulder. I call it 10 toes because it's easiest for the kids to understand. You point your 10 toes at the target. Okay? You're athletic, your butt's out, you are here. For this one, this is another great one. Nose follows, belly button to thigh, finishing your throw. Okay, so we're here, good short arm action. Just shoulders rotating against our hips. Boom, and then finish. Nose goes forward, belly button to thighs. Okay, the next one, rockers. Okay, I like rockers because it gets them moving with some momentum. Okay, all right. You really don't need them to lean forward. If they're old enough to understand what you're trying to get them to do, let them lean forward. But if they simply just rock and break, boom, rock and break, throw. Now look, did my back foot leave the ground? No. All right, the reason why this drill is important is that it encourages to use our hips and our legs to help us throw. In order to use our legs, it got to be on the ground. Okay, so you're really trying to encourage just that hip turn to get the ball forward. All right, to include our legs. Next one, shuffle and throws. All right, when we do shuffle and throw, we want to time up our hand break. All right, when our hands should break when we really throw. When I throw this, I want to break my hands on where you think my heels would, I'm not going to click my heels, but where my heels would click. So I'm here, break, and then throw. This throw is mostly for some infield work. So I would always add in this piece. Add in simulated ground ball, come up, shuffle, throw. And if you want to add one more piece to it, if you want to go advanced with it, go ahead and add left foot land and shuffle. Okay? So I always tell my infielders, when we catch the ball, it hits the leather when my left foot hits the ground. So we're here, boom, boom. Okay? And then lastly, step, step. This is getting, especially for guys that are just trying to get to learn how to really use their legs to throw. It's to simulate our outfield throws here. We're here. The first step is break their hands. All right, that's the key to this drill. Break my hands on the step, and then when I turn, I'm going, okay? So break, boom, boom. And now, if I feel good with it, all right, and I'd probably use a coach to toss on the ball. If you got guys in a line, toss a little fly ball. But go ahead, start here, and now you're thinking, boom, boom. As you get more and more rhythm, you notice it turns to a pro hop. And once they're really good, then you can add in kind of the high knee to get it started. So we're here, boom, and then make our throw and follow. Okay?
Pitching.
All right, pitching. Okay, all these drills here for pitching, all right, can also just be used for general throwing if you think it's helpful. First one, all right, lunge drill. I'm gonna need you again. Lunge drill. All right, you did the first two drills kind of go with pitching. This is the pitching drill to kind of talk about what our legs want to do. Okay, so I'm here. I lunge out. Notice toes are pointing forward, right? So it's taking 10 toes and adding a lunge to it. Shoulders are square, hands are center of the body. Okay? And what I really want out of this drill, the arm action stuff is all the same. I want this front knee to go back in my hip. All right? Don't think so much of trying to lock the knee as we're trying to push that knee into our hip and then finish up and over like a pitcher. Okay? So I'm here, I break, boom, and try to get up there as much as I can. Where you're gonna see guys run into problems is when that toe gets up, then they're just lunging the back side, getting too active with the back side. Okay? It's a great time to really discuss keeping that 2 feet in the ground. Throw and drag, and then pop up. Next one, walking wind up, okay? So a little like you do wind up most of the time. Sometimes just to get them in rhythm of the pitch, I find it's good to walk, okay? To get them to kind of understand the rhythm of it and understand how to use their hips and legs together at the same time. So really, I want them to take 2 steps before they start their wind up. So when you're doing this, right foot first, so 1, 2, now big turn, lift, push, and throw, okay? Just to get them going so that they understand that we got to move forward when we're on the mound. Too many guys that get up there, they're just here, break and just see what happens, okay? Next one, balance push, okay? Balance push, pretty simple drill, all right? You just lift your foot up, stay there, and now what you're going to do to kind of work on that push-off part of pitching, push that left butt cheek forward, okay? They should feel themselves kind of be here, lean forward, brace themselves, and then come through, okay? I think this is a really easy drill to implement, and especially, most of the time you're going to have the problem with kids not using their lower half. They're forced to, okay? If you got a kid that's a little advanced, you can tell them to almost slow down his arm swing. It's going to naturally go with his body, okay? So you're here and just kind of naturally push, natural arm swing, and then it whips through, okay? Last one, the Patty Mahomes drill. This is a fun one, okay? This is one that I got from Kit Sheets, who got up to AAA in the Astros organization. Really good pitcher at Virginia Tech, too. So what he did a lot to work on his arm action and in engaging his core is he would throw on the run. All right? He would actually do not even like fielding throws, but almost more like quarterback throws. All right? Where he would start running, go forward, and throw. The other variations of this is he would start to the left, look at a target, try to throw. I'm not going to kill myself on this. And the real one the last one is, I think, the most important one, is going your arms facing the target and you're running against your body because you have to get that upper turn against your head, your shoulder turn against your hips, and pop your hips to make the throw. If I was doing it in full speed, if I threw it, boom, I actually finished facing this way. All right? Because I'm turning so hard and I whip it, boom, you've got to bounce back because the acceleration your hips are using against your body. And I like that drill at the little league level because it's a fun drill. It's something fun that they can do that really it's applicable to every player, but pitchers especially to get them to use their bodies a little bit and make sure they use their core when they throw.
Chris, you might just talk about grips. We're running out of time here really fast. So you might just talk about grips real quick.
Yep.
Move on for pitching.
Yeah, so real quick, four seam, take the C, just the first line of your fingers here, okay? Notice I'm not here, I'm not just here. There's those top fingers, top third of your fingers over the seam, okay? I think most of y'all probably know that. Two seam, two different ways, okay? Either way is correct for me. Two seam, you can go across the railroad. Still, I'm using these top thirds of my fingers as the part that's on the ball, or the parts that's on the seams, okay? Notice, where's my thumb at in every grip I'm doing right now? Right underneath the middle, right? Okay, I just want to point that out because in a minute you'll understand why. And then the other two seam, thumb underneath the middle, on the railroad. I always liked on the tracks because I felt like I had more feel of the ball on that seam. But, you know, a lot of guys go with the other two seam too. Going into the next one, changeup. I'm very passionate about changeups. It's the most important pitch that your young ball player can learn how to throw. It's really the pitch that will carry them through their baseball career the most. All right, if you can throw a good one, you will stick around. Okay, changeup. So with changeup, when I teach changeup, I take a guy's two seam grip. All right, notice thumbs underneath the middle of the ball. Okay, all you do is move it over, and now my middle and my ring finger are on the seams. Okay, so if I was holding it out, I'm doing a little hook and horns. Okay, and then the fingers just go down the side of the ball. Now notice, my thumb is still underneath the middle of the baseball. The reason why that's key, all right, it's control. Having that thumb is the clamp that keeps this thing in control, okay? Especially with guys that have smaller fingers, you gotta have that, okay? And I throw my changeup just like that, okay? Now, as they grow, these two side fingers will start going down the ball. Eventually, you'll get there. All right, or you might have to just move up a little bit there. What I wouldn't want to see from a 9 or 10-year-old is a true circle change, because this is what I get. That ball is going there, and that ball is going to be tough to find. It's a palm ball. You're not going to have feel for that pitch because it's not in your fingers. Okay, I'm a big proponent of that your hand has to grow. Your hand has to grow into that pitch, okay? With this circle change, you know, yes, it was a very effective pitch for Pedro and Greg Maddox. Your 10-year-old is not Pedro or Greg Maddox, okay? So teach them this. This is great. This has been very effective for many guys I've coached, is being right here. And really, once they're old enough that they kind of understand what they're doing, you know, if they're in that 11 and 12 range, they can start playing with pressure points to get different movement.
I'm going to stop us there. We got to get. Yeah, make that quick.
Okay. Last one. If you're at the point where you're wanting to teach a curveball, all right, the variations that I've used is take that circle change grip, make it just a long horn. Okay, when you throw it, you throw your pinky, you throw your index. All right, afterwards, if you want to go into more depth about kind of the pronate and all that kind of stuff, we'll talk about it. You can come up to me after. Another one, the old football pitch, where you literally say, put the fingers together, put a thumb underneath the middle of the ball, throw that thing like a football. That will also tumble, okay? Again, until you see armpit hair, you really want to stay away from the true hard breaker, okay? And other than that, coaching-wise, make sure every appearance is improvement, and be patient with your guys, all right? Pitchers take a minute to develop, just be patient. Okay?
Don't want to rush you guys out of here. Try not to rush you guys, but we're rushing. We're trying to get through as much as we can. I'm actually going to skip catching. Okay, you'll have this slide deck ready to go. All the cues are off to the side. You have a video of it looking what it looks like. I'm going to skip through all the catching. We're going to move on to infield from here. You'll have access to this as you need it. Same thing. So you have your primary, your secondary position. You have your throwing and your blocking. The cues are all at the bottom. It's all yours for you to have. Just kind of take a look at that a little bit later. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. We'll go ahead and fill you guys in any catching stuff, any questions you have there. Infield.
All right, I'll try to make this as informational and as quick as possible. With our infield, especially with our younger guys, we need to have cues. Okay. First is we've got to get our feet wide. We see a lot of kids when they first start, especially the ones that are scared of the ball, they do this, right? Try to catch off to the side. Tell them to get their feet wide. If they get their feet wide, they have no choice but to get down in front of the baseball. Okay? So you can see our guys right here, they're starting with their feet wide apart. Next, butt down. Butt down, glove out in front. I always tell my guys, glove down, butt down. Okay? So when our glove goes down, our butt goes down with it. Okay? We can't have the stiff knees and the butt out and then try and get the glove down. I physically cannot get my glove out with my knees not bent, right? So we got to put the butt down, get the glove out in front. All right. Alligator, we've heard alligator for years. I heard it when I was in T-ball. We have to make sure that our guys are using their top hand. Okay. It's something that has to be done at the high school level, at the college level, professional level. It's probably got to be done at your 9-year-old's level, right? Getting the alligator, glove out front, alligator, getting two hands together. Okay. I like to say glove through the throw. We've gotten to the point where everything is very flashy now because of what we see on TV. And the professionals, the older guys, are really good at being able to catch the ball. And, they flip the glove up, whatever, and they throw. Okay? That's gotten our guys to the point where the very first thing they want to do is catch the ball and bring it straight to their stomach. Right? Well, I bring it straight to my stomach. I'm not in a throwing position still. Right? I have to catch, and when we say glove through the throw, we're going to catch the ball, come up. Right? We're going to take our body to the glove, not our glove to the body. When we bring our glove to the body, we pull away from the baseball, we leave baseballs between our feet. Okay? So I talk about glove to the body coming through to throw. Body to the glove, sorry. Body to your glove. That gets our guys moving forward and gets them in a good throwing position. The funnel is good on short hops, where that's the only thing that you have to do is that's the only movement, right? Because it's quick. We have to try and just catch the baseball. But if we can teach our guys to take our body to the glove and come up into a throwing position, we're going to be in a much better spot. You're going to see a lot less baseballs getting left between feet. So this drill that we've got our guys doing up here, the ball is actually sitting on the ground. I don't know if y'all can see it or not. They're not fielding a ball. It's sitting right there in the middle. Okay? Now our guys are actually not doing this right. They're getting to the ball and they're fielding the ball underneath of them right here. Right? We want that ball to be out in front. That ball is a focal point of where we want to catch it. Okay? So we've come up with a couple cues for this. One is we want to work to the left hip. Meaning if I have this ball sitting out in front, I'm not going to run up to the ball and be here. Okay? We want to work to the left hip, which is what you hear all the time of getting around the ball. Okay? So we're taking our left hip to the ball. Okay? So we get our left hip to the ball, we take our chop steps, that kind of slows us down and gets us prepared. Okay? And then we're going to jab step to the right. So we chop step, jab, okay? And now we're going to step through with the left. What that does is when I step through with the left, so jab, step through, it gets me in that good fielding position. Okay? Your left foot's always going to be in front of your right foot when you're fielding a ground ball because that means momentum. Right? That's taking me towards where I'm throwing the ball. Okay? So that jab with the left coming through has my momentum going towards wherever that throw is going, which means that it's going to be a good, strong throw. Okay? After we take our jab and step through, we're fielding left of center, which means I'm fielding this ball on the left side of my body. My chest is still in front of the ball, right? But I'm fielding it on the left side. If I field it over here, my weight shifted, which means all the momentum that I just talked about is gone, right? So it's left of center of our body, okay? We're on our toes, okay? Now, what I was saying before, it's body to glove, not glove to body, okay? So with this all put in motion, you've got your jab, step, I'm out in front, left of center, and then it's body to glove, okay? And you can teach your guys how to do this in practice, show them how to do this stuff. I promise you, you get your guys moving forward and just even just a little teeny tiniest movement forward, you're going to see improvements on their arm strength. You're going to see improvements on getting that ball to first base, especially with the guys that have weaker arms that are struggling. All right?
This is mostly about footwork. It's a luxury to feel the ball with 2 hands. It's a luxury. You don't always get that opportunity. So we're going to get to this position with our feet so that we can get our both hands on the ball. So when we have that backhand ball, I have a rule. We don't declare backhands. We don't go automatically backhands. You've got to work hard with your feet to get yourself in position, left hip to the ball, and now we're through. Right? But we get lazy and we say, hey, the ball's on my backhand side. Let me go ahead and just take one step and field it here. No, work hard around, not around it, but work hard to get your left hip there and go. But it's going to have to get their feet going. Sorry, Coach.
No, you're good. We're getting our left hip to the ball as many times as we can. We were actually taught that in college, and that was the first time I've ever heard that. In high school, we're still practicing getting to the ball, getting down here, coming through the baseball with our backhands. If you have the opportunity to get yourself in front of the ball and be able to get through it, do it. Because now it takes a bat hot, your chest is there, right? You're blocking it up. You're getting yourself in a good, firm spot to be able to come up and make a good throw. Okay. You have to have prep steps. Okay? And you see it everywhere in baseball that you go. There's a prep step that happens before the pitch, which is getting your guys in a position to go field a baseball. Right? There are a couple different variations of what you can do. Some guys just do the 1-2 step and they're down and they're ready. Right? My favorite, I got it from the UVA coach, called the UVA hop. They take a step and then a hop. Okay, and that hop gets them on the balls of their feet. They're ready to go. Okay. Now you have to make sure that with that step or with that hop is that you're landing on the balls of your feet and that the timing is right. Okay, you should be landing as the ball is crossing the zone. Right? If I'm taking my hop while the guy's swinging the bat, I'm late, right? Which means that a ball that I could usually catch, I'm not going to get there because I was in the air when the ball got hit, okay? And it's a very subtle hop. It's not a step and then we're jumping as high as we can, okay? It's just a very subtle boom here, and we're ready to go, okay? So we're timing that, making sure that we're landing as the ball is going through the zone, and you can do different things in practice to work with that. You can have your partner, which I'm going to start doing with our guys. One guy is acting as the pitcher. He's going through his motion, and the other infielder is timing it up so that as he's getting ready to throw the ball, boom, step, hop. Okay, and it's just repetition, repetition, repetition. UVA had every single one of their guys do that step hop. It looked really good, and it's kind of intimidating when you've got all 7 guys that have to take a prep step out there doing it at the exact same time and doing it the exact same way.
This is actually pretty common practice now across the board.
Yeah.
It's very common.
Yeah. Prep steps are super important. With your tags, we do 2 different tags. You have a hammer tag and you have a sweep tag. Okay, with our hammer tag, it's going to be forceful and we're sticking it, which means that we've got the throw coming down, catch, boom. It's forceful and we're sticking it. Okay? And then we kind of go the extra mile and say we force and we stick and we push. And that's that one where that guy's caught. He's 3 steps from being a second base, and we got the ball. We're here. We're saying, come on. And then right when he's about to slide, we push so that there is no way of him getting around us. Okay? With the sweep tags, it's a catch, swipe, and got him. And we're getting in the umpire's head a little bit when we do this. Our guys tag. This is that close one where they tag, swipe, and they come up and they say, got him. Look at the umpire and say, got him, show him that you have the ball. Because even if he's safe, that first thing that the umpire heard was got him, and he's going, oh, he was safe, got him. Oh, crap, I just made the wrong call. But I'm not going back on it now because I'm about to piss off a bunch of people. Okay? So we kind of play a little game with the umpires just by saying got him. Never go back. Tell your guys never to go back. They come down, they swipe, and they go, oh, crap, I missed him, and they turn around. He's automatically safe. Doesn't matter what the umpire saw. Umpire could have saw that he was out by 5 feet. You go back and you try and tag him, the umpire goes, nope, he missed him. He's going to call him safe every time. Teach your guys, when they do tags, tag and be done with it. Never go back. You go back, they're safe 99.9% of the time. Okay? Make sure that you're showing the umpire the ball when you say got him. Don't tag, walk away and say got him. Show him the ball just like you would if you were diving for a ball in the outfield. You catch it, you want to show the umpire, I got the ball, and I tagged him.
We still have outfield left to do. But once again, you have the slides, you have the videos. A lot of this is pretty basic. I got to pretty much explain. Once again, we're doing prep steps, just like the infield. We're doing those in the outfield. Our drop step with our prep step, and it's a command which we're doing a lot of pointing for them to do their drop step. All right, that's all this slide is showing. Let me get through this one really quick. I want to get to hitting is what I'm trying to get to. Y'all want some hitting? Let's get some hitting. Let's get to that. Like I said, if you guys got to go, you got to go. We're at 2 hours right here. We'll stick around as long as you guys want for any questions. So let me this thing go. All right, so over here we have our read and react, where whichever ball that the tosser catches the ball with is the direction they drop step. All right, that was very clear in the cue. So on that drill, when he tosses the ball, whichever ball the tosser catches the ball with is the direction he drop steps. All right, point and pass is simple. You toss it, you point, you go. We're going to fill our outfield balls like an infielder, so we got to practice that. So we're doing a little short hop, do some short hops over here. And over here, we give them the option when it comes to fielding the ball on the run, either outside the foot or inside the foot. It's a comfort thing. You'll find a lot of infielders who like inside the foot because they've been fielding inside the foot their whole life. You have a primary outfielder, they like to go out here. It doesn't make a difference either way, whatever they're comfortable doing. The idea here is we're getting away a little bit from the crow hop. We're not trying to get so high off the ground. The idea now is to gain ground forcefully. All right, so instead of the big old knee up, getting up high, now it's turning into a little bit more of we're getting some momentum moving forward as we throw. Right? Once again, it's a comfort thing. Is it going to make a big difference at the lower levels? Because the outfield assist is almost non-existent in the game of it's even high school baseball. It's non-existent. Is it really something we need to practice every day? No. But it's something the kids need to know as they move up in the level, so they know exactly how to do it. So I know I rushed through the outfield stuff, but that's what it is. You got the information right here. Okay, hitting. Let's go. Y'all okay with this? We're going to fly through it. We're going to try to give you everything we can. Afterwards, if you have any more questions, anything we missed, we're going to stick around as long as you guys want. I'm not watching the game. I'll stay all day.
I watched the game. That's wild.
I'm watching like bubble guppies.
All right. So hitting. All right. Here, hitting's probably the toughest thing for you guys to teach because hitting requires time and reps. Those are 2 finite resources when you play a 16-game schedule that lasts like 2.5 months. Okay, it's a finite resource that we have even at the high school level once the season starts. Like basically, once we're done with tryouts, we got to kind of take what they got and tweak it from there. So focus exactly on that. Tweaks. Just tweaks. Things that will make your guys competitive. That's it. That's all I really want you to focus on as a coach once we're in the season. There's so much going on that we can't spend a whole bunch of time changing, reinventing the wheel because we got to at least hit a fastball that's coming to us. Does that make sense? So focus on the tweaks. And really the tweaks, when I say that, you're focused on 3 elements of the swing. Rhythm, balance, and extension. Okay? Rhythm, balance, and extension. Rhythm being timing and fluidness. If they look fluid and athletic, good. They got some movements, they're good. We can go from there. Okay? The balance. This is a big one at the little league level. You got the guy that swings, falling backwards, and we're there. That's If you could just get him to not fall over when he swings, he'll find the ball. And then extension, okay? And extension is just getting here, and then when we hit, we don't just flop it over. We get here, we drive the ball through the pitcher, and we finish over the top, okay? And really those three elements break down into three parts. Your load, your stride, your swing. It's really what you're going to be looking at. When we talk about load, okay, all we're talking about is how a guy gets into his back leg and really his back hip, all right? If you can get a guy that will move his hands back, perfect. Second piece of that is see if he can just turn his hips just a little bit when it comes back, all right? Because what you get a lot is guys will load and they think it's just a big movement back, and that back knee clears the ankle. If that back knee clears the ankle, that's where you're not going to have a chance, okay? Because now everything has to move back forward. When you kind of load into the hip, that back knee is actually moving forward, and his momentum is continuing to where the pitch is coming from the pitcher, okay? Next one, stride. Finding something that is comfortable for each guy, okay? Again, I'm not a big step guy. I've never liked it. I think it's kind of tough to get timing and rhythm with it. So you may have to just switch a guy. Boom, there. Or if you could just get a guy to just lift his heel, load his hip, and boom, it's that heel into the ground that gets the swing rolling. You just got them to do the two parts that are probably, the hardest thing for guys to get, which is that hip turn, all right, and timing. My heel hits the ground when I want to hit. My other heel comes up. Now the hip and the backside is coming through, which is where the power is going to come from. Okay? And then the swing. We're going to get into the swing a lot with Coach Mooney when he gets to barrel plane, but the swing where it's coming forward and I have my hands above the barrel. Okay? Those are the things that I'm looking for. All right? I keep it simple. I'm not going to rework a guy's swing through February and May. That's not what we got to do. All right? Because I'm not going to be able, at my level, to do it for 18 guys. You're not going to be able to do it for 12 guys when you practice once a week, once or twice a week. But you can get a guy to land on time, and you can get a guy to extend and swing on a good barrel plane within that time.
All about time.
Yep.
I was only given one talking point during this because I could talk about hitting for another 2 hours. So my biggest thing, and I talk to our high school guys about it a lot, and you'll see it a lot with the younger guys, is they want to start their swing up top, right? Because this is where the muscles are, the chest and the arms, and all their swing is, I'm going to yank the shoulder as hard as I can because that's what's going to create all the power. Okay? Your swing starts with your hips. Okay? You have to start with your hips. If you don't start with your hips, you're going to run into a million different problems down the road because you started with your hands. Back drag, pulling off the ball, casting, all of that stuff. All right? So what I mean by starting with the hips is this back hip is my trigger. This is what starts my swing. Okay? So when I'm swinging, it's here, and the very first thing that goes is I'm going to drive this back hip to the baseball, where I'm going to take this back hip and drive it down into my front foot, whichever way you want to teach it, right? That is the start of the swing. Okay? I was 135 pounds.
Still are.
I was 135 pounds in high school my senior year, and I'm hitting doubles and triples to the wall. Okay? Not boasting myself, but why was I able to do that is because I was starting my swing with my hips. Because this is where the power comes from. The power in swings comes from the legs. And if we can get our younger guys to understand that home runs and the balls that are hitting the fence and the balls that are getting to the outfield don't come from up here but from down here, we're helping them out for the future. Okay? Because that's, again, social media, all you see is home runs, home runs, home runs. That's what kids want to hit. That's all they talk about. How far they can hit the ball. Tell them this is where it comes from. If you can swing with your hips, You are going to be powerful. I wish I had a picture that I forgot to send to him.
I was waiting for it all night.
Of Albert Pujols, one of the greatest hitters in baseball, in my opinion. And when it's a picture of him with his swing finished. His back foot is actually off the ground about this much. It's levitating in the air. Okay, we're off the ground. Why was it off the ground? Because he was so powerful with his hips that when his hips came through as hard as he possibly could, it created so much force where his back foot actually came off the ground. And it was for a split second. But that right there is a pro guy using his hips in his swing for his power. And because he created so much power with his hips, it caused his back foot to come off the ground. That's all I'm going to talk about to you is the hips. It's one of the most important things in the swing that gets overlooked because of all the other big muscles that everybody else looks at. Everybody forgets about the legs. Everybody forgets about the hips.
Okay, show me the hip slide real quick.
Oh yeah. So there is a difference between the hip slide and then the hip turn, and you'll see this with guys that have never used their hips before in their swing. You say use your hips. Your hips start the swing, and they'll do this, and they'll slide their hips forward. Okay, that does nothing. All that did was make me have to start my swing all over again with my top hat. Okay, so this is a slide. It's the hip turn where we're taking that back hip and it's a forceful boom. Okay, and we can teach our guys that off the tee. Do drills where they have to fire their hip first before anything else goes. It's here, now finish your swing. And I promise you, when you start with your hips, all of this stuff up here is going to follow those hips. It has no choice.
Good job, Coach. Did somebody have a comment?
I said hips don't lie.
Hips don't lie. That's what Shakira says.
Also,
She still think? Shakira still sing? I don't know. Somebody watched her. All right, here we go. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, but this is important stuff. Hand path, barrel plane. There's an epidemic. I told about epidemics in the game of baseball. This is another epidemic in the game of baseball. We're having a hard time with everybody using the word hands a little too loosely. All right, a little too loose with the word hands. All we need to know about the hands is that the knob is what leads the swing. After, obviously, did I get this right, Coach? Your hips start the swing, is that right? All right, hips start the swing. From there, your upper body does engage. You got to understand that the hands are what we have to think about when we talk about starting the swing with our upper body. So it's knob, not knob, the ball, but the knob is what's going to initiate that movement with our hands. Now, the problem with that hand talk is that it's easy to talk about hands. There are travel coaches and facility coaches out there making money hand over fist, just saying these cliches and getting away with it. Stand inside the ball. Trust your hands. It means nothing to kids. Ask these kids what it means. They're going to have no clue. I asked my high schoolers, what's it mean to stand inside the baseball? They're like, that's what you hear. Nothing. They can only kind of show it. But ask them to put it into words. They have no clue. All right? So the hands have an important job. They have to get the swing started. You have to lead with the knob. But the most important part, you heard me talk about earlier, what's the most important part of the bat? The barrel, because that's where you do your work. You do your work with the barrel. So there needs to be an emphasis put on barrel, not on your hands. Because the hands are what's screwing up young swings. Because they trust their hands too much, guess what happens? When they start their swing, they're hitting the ball up the middle. They get to here, they're still thinking hands and contact. What do their hands have to do from here? They just have to finish. So where do their hands go? Right over here, because they're trusting their hands so much. That's our fault for coaching that and using that stupid cliche of trust your hands. You don't know what it means. Trust the barrel. Trust the barrel. Let the barrel do the work. All right, did I skip something? All right, the barrel disconnects from the hands. At a certain point, the hands are insignificant now. They did their job. They got the barrel going. All right, if we're talking about a pitch up the middle, use my cheek. Pitch up the middle, we're going to hit slightly out front, Coach Bowling. All right, we're going to start with the hands. We're going to get to our contact point right there. From here, from contact, there's a disconnection. That word disconnection gets thrown around in mechanical talk all the time. This is my version of disconnection because this is the one that really matters in hitting. Coach talked about extension. From here, there's a disconnection between your hands and your barrel. Your barrel makes contact. Notice the angle, I'm middle, slightly almost backside, right? Right? From here, the barrel takes over. Barrel takes over, and it keeps on going. The hands disconnected and follow the barrel. Right? Instead of what we've been using, that these travel coaches are making money hand over fist teaching to see a good result in the batting cage, because a kid can make solid contact here and here. They're still going to get a line drive up the middle, but it doesn't play in the game. It doesn't play in the game because the barrel's in and out of the zone so freaking quick, you're going to get burned up on all outside pitches. Where do people throw the ball at the higher levels? When they can start placing, they throw it outside. They can't come in. So we're going to miss every pitch of the outside half. We struggled with it for the better part of a decade at Clover Hill because of this not being taught the right way. It has to be a barrel emphasis. Hands are getting in the way. All right? Along with that barrel plane talk, if we're getting the contact and we're finishing, the other problem we're having, other than the barrel pulling across the zone because we trust our hands too much, is we're finishing too high. That creates a little bit of a loop. So we get here and we finish high, there's your loop. If we finish like Ted Williams, not to go way too far back, but think about Ted Williams' finish. Y'all seen it before? He was right down here. Think about that barrel. Nice and flat through the zone, right? He had it right. No wonder he had so many damn hits. All right, so we're not going to talk about hands inside the baseball. The hands are obviously going to be inside the baseball. You can cast your hands and get around it, but they're still they're in that little route. They're important to talk about, but they can't be the end-all, be-all. The barrel is what stays inside the ball. As we make contact, barrel's inside the baseball, hitting the inside part of the baseball. I'm going to tell you guys how to define it to your kids in a way that they'll understand, in a way that they can correct it, and in a way that they can define it. Take a baseball. Write the number 1 on the inside part of the ball. Write the number 2 in the middle of the ball. And write number 3 on the outside part of the ball. Now you can define what staying inside the baseball means by giving it a number. All right, guys, we're in the cage today on the tee. I want you guys to hit some ones. Hit some ones. And all they're going to think about is you can put the ball right here just like I just set it up. I'm going to make my barrel, hit that 1. We're going to get the barrel through, and we're going to finish. Right? 1, and we call them 1 pluses because the converse of that is that we also have an epidemic of too many damn fly balls because everybody's talking about launch angle at the big leagues. Launch angle makes no sense for anything any level lower than the big leagues. All right, for us, here we go, coach. Top half, damn it. All right, the plus side of the ball. We're going to hit 1 pluses. We're going to train their swings by hitting 1 pluses. If you can hit a 1 plus to the right side, if you're a right-handed hitter, you can pull a baseball the right way. You can still do it. But if you don't train yourself how to hit the ball to the right side by hitting a 1 plus, you're limiting your abilities in the game. It starts there. Most guys want to get out there and pull the ball, pull the ball, pull the ball. What happens when they get an outside pitch? They can't hit it. They roll over it. They hit that 3 plus. And what's the 3 plus? We call it the rollover. The rollover, where we get around the baseball, we're here, and what happens? You hit a ground ball to the shortstop. Who's your best player on the field? The shortstop. Why give him a ground ball? Instead, we should be hitting that 2 plus right back up the box. Right there. Right there. Stay through it. Finish your swing. All right? That 3. If you see a kid roll over, hey, what was that? See if Johnny can talk about it. What was that? What number was that? Oh, that was a 3, coach. Good. You knew what it was. How do you fix that? I need to hit a 1 or 2. Boom! They got to figure it out because you gave them something that they can figure out in their brains a whole lot easier than, hey, stay inside the baseball more. It doesn't resonate with them. All right, they're hitting too many fly balls. Hey, a little more plus side of the ball, a little more plus side of the ball. All right, and we got that fixed. We leverage it. We don't just hit it, we leverage it, which means we're trying to hit a line drive. Right, we're not trying to chop it down, not trying to lift it, we're leveraging it. And that's the cue that we use when it comes to hitting the ball hard. Because I told you guys about this, the reason why we're losing kids in the game, when the field gets bigger, they're not experiencing any success because they can't hit the ball hard enough. We need to emphasize bat speed. How do you get bat speed? You don't get it by muscling up. You get it by being quick. You get it by giving them a result that's going to be favorable. We want to see line drives. So one of the skills I got from the drive line guy over at the coaching convention, he called it. He put a bunch of cones out called puppies. And if you hit the ball soft on the ground, you're going to hurt the puppies. All right. So what he did is he encouraged them not to hit the ball like right in front of the mound. He wanted them to get it up a little bit, get some leverage to it, not necessarily hit in the air, but he said, don't kill the puppies out front. You got to hit it hard past the puppies so you don't hurt the puppies. Now, some of you guys that are coaching the lower levels might get that. It might work for you guys there. But that's what's the problem. The kids aren't hitting the ball hard enough. They're not emphasizing bat speed enough. And that's what's hurting the kids when they get to the next level. And when they get to that next level, they quit. Plain and simple. They quit when they can't be successful with the bat. So if we encourage bat speed now, and we encourage these things we're talking about now, they're going to have a better chance of being successful when they get out there in the game. And remember, when it comes to the game, in game, all that matters is that barrel getting in the zone and staying in the zone as long as you can before it gets out on its own. We don't have to worry about getting that bat out of the zone. It will go on its own. If we are focused on getting the bat out, what's going to happen? It's in and it's out. It's in, if we finish too high, then it's out. We want to keep that barrel plane through the baseball as long as possible, hands follow the barrel. That makes sense? Good. I think we're done. Guys, we got the youth nights coming up this year for our season. Please put the word out there. Get the kids out here. We're going to get them in for free if they're wearing their uniforms. We're doing Thursday, April 25th, Tuesday, May 14th. Post-game mini camp with my guys on the field after the game. So we're going to do a quick little hitting talk. The kids will go out to the positions with the players. They'll put them through some drills. I'll talk to the parents about, be encouraging like I gave you guys today. And then we're going to let them run the bases and get the hell out of here so we can go home. All right, so it'll be a quick 20-minute thing. Get in for free. It'll be a great time for you guys to bring everybody out here. It's going to be an awesome event. We're doing 2 just in case somebody has a game on that first time. Get them out there for the second time. So just put it out there to your people. I'm going to advertise the crap out of it. So I'd love to have you guys out here. Let you guys know you can see some good baseball out here at Clover Hill. From there, here are resources. So you guys have this presentation. Go through. I got everything on here, guys. I gave you the whole gamut. I got an Amazon list for you guys that gets the Coach Mooney approved training equipment. Long toss routines, all the hip mobility stuff. That's all good throwing stuff that we do at the higher levels. Your team communication, my mental performance stuff. Great. If you can't make it in 2 weeks to the mental performance clinic, there's some good resources to get you started. Baseball stuff, Baseball Coaches Insider on Facebook, Instagram. Phenomenal drills, phenomenal stuff from them. ABCA, if you're not a member, they have a great youth program where they give youth coaches a plethora of information. So worth it. If you're going to be a coach for a long time, I highly recommend jumping on it. Coach Lucas and myself, this is our first year on. We're sold. Lifetime members now. All right? ESPN Plus, watch baseball. Encourage your kids to get it. It's easy. Every Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're going to have a game of baseball from the college level on ESPN Plus. Go watch it. Win Reality, I'm not going to get too much into that, sorry, Parker, but virtual reality hitting, the kids are going to freaking love it, and it's awesome. We have 2 headsets ready to go for our guys whenever they want to get live reps off the Win Reality. Then at the bottom, you have some of our Clover Hill baseball resources, our quality bats, our program-wise, a bunting video that I made that I'm a little bit egotistical in. I love bunting. Coach Bowling taught me everything I know. And then Pitching the Content podcast. We have a podcast we do with each other. Little time for you to hear what happens at the high school level. Almost done, guys. Contact info is on there. Our schedule's on there, and we're done. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Sorry we had to rush through a lot of this, but it means a lot for us to be able to provide this back to our community and the baseball community. Thank you for being here. Please put the word out for that mental performance training. I hope you guys saw the energy that it brings to the game. It's changed me. It's foundational. It's not transactional. It's transformational. Right? That's what we need to be in this game. Transformational, not transactional. Don't just do your hour and a half practice. Make a difference in your hour and a half when you're there in your game. Right? That's what we're going to be out here doing. Guys, thank you for hearing us out for two and a half hours. We'll stick around as long as you need us. If you have any questions after, if not, go enjoy the game. All right, guys, thank you very much.